Good afternoon, Texas. Hola, Texas. This is Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva. Thank you to the Texas AFL-CIO for this invitation to join you. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there in person due to the snowstorm affecting the country. I want to begin by thanking President Aguilar and Secretary Treasurer Montemayor for your leadership and for the fact that this powerful federation is led by two Latinos who understand deeply what this fight is about. That matters. Representation matters. Leadership matters. And thank you to every union member, organizer, shop steward, retiree, family member, and advocate in this room. You are on the front lines of the fight for working people in this country. First and foremost, before any title, I am the proud granddaughter of a bracero, a man who came to this country with nothing but his hands, his work ethic, and determination to build a better life for his family. I am also the proud daughter of Congressman Raul Grijalva, a man who spent his entire life fighting for justice for those who deserve an opportunity. In just one generation, a Mexican immigrant laborer raised a son who became a member of Congress. One of the most progressive members of Congress, I might add, someone who spent over 50 years fighting for working families, environmental justice, and labor rights. In one generation, my family went from being ranch hands to writing laws in Congress. That is the power of organized labor, public education, and opportunity. That is the power of the American promise, el poder del sueño americano. And today, it is my deepest honor to be with you as the Congresswoman for Arizona's 7th Congressional District, the first Chicana ever elected to Congress in Arizona. Arizona and Texas share a lot in common. We are both border states. We are states where working people built the economy and where politicians tried for decades to silence them. And we are the states that were once written off as permanently Republican, but not anymore, because when working people organizes, when labor leads, states change. Arizona didn't flip by accident. It flipped because teachers walked out, because warehouse workers organized, because Latino voters turned out, because unions invested for the long term. And Texas is next. Let me be very clear. Texas will not turn blue because of cable news pundits or DC consultants. Texas will turn blue because of labor, because of organizers knocking door to door in the heat, because of workers talking to workers at shift change, because unions understand what too many Democrats and politicians forget. People vote their lived experience. And right now, that lived experience is about affordability. Working families are struggling, not because they aren't working hard enough, but because the system is rigged against them. Rent is too high. Groceries are too expensive. Healthcare costs are crushing families. Childcare costs more than college in some places. And Democrats need to say this plainly. If we are not running an agenda centered on working people and kitchen table issues, then we are not running to win. We win when we talk about wages. We win when we talk about organizing rights. We win when we talk about the right to retire with dignity. We win when we say that no one working full-time should live in poverty. That is labor's message. And that must be the message of the Democratic Party right now. Now, Texas knows better than most what happens when politicians are afraid of that message. Instead of competing for votes, Republicans have chosen gerrymandering. They redraw maps, they silence communities, they dilute Latino and Black political power because they know if the lines are fair, they would lose. But gerrymandering doesn't change reality, it only delays it. And the reality is this: Texas is young, Texas is diverse, Texas is working class, and those voters deserve leaders who fight for them. But even in the face of rigged maps and voter suppression, Texas is still sent fighters to Congress, leaders like my colleagues, Representatives Casad, Crockett, Doggett, Garcia, Escobar, Castro, and others. Members who don't just talk about working people, they show up for them every single day. Which brings me to immigration and what we are witnessing right now with these ICE raids. Let's call it what it is. This is not about public safety. This is about fear. This is about intimidation. This is about tearing families apart to score political points. Across our communities, parents are afraid to go to work. Kids are afraid to go to school. Workers are afraid to report wage and theft and unfair conditions. People are afraid to leave their homes. That fear is not accidental. It is strategy. We've seen this playbook before, haven't we? First, they undermine trust in the press, calling it the enemy of the people. Then they question elections they lose. Then they threaten political opponents with imprisonment. Then they villainize immigrants and people of color. Then they erode the rule of law itself. This is not normal. And the greatest threat to our democracy today is not coming from abroad. It is coming from within. From leaders who believe that they are above the law. From agencies that operate without accountability. From politicians who use cruelty as policy. And let me say this clearly. A room full of union members who know this better than anyone. An attack on migrant workers is an attack on all workers. Because fear is the boss's favorite tool. Because division is how wages stay low. Because when one group is disposable, everyone becomes replaceable. Labor understands this. That's why leadership matters. That's why the Texas AFL-CIO, led by Latino leadership who know what immigrant rights are and worker rights are. That solidarity is how we win. We are heading into a critical midterm election. And make no mistake, what happens in Texas will decide the future of this country. There are races here that will determine control of Congress. There are legislative fights that will decide whether workers organize or corporations dominate. And winning means showing voters something real, not slogans, not sound bites, but results. We must be the party that shows up when workers strike. The party that defends the right to organize. The party that does not flinch when billionaires threaten us. Because people are tired. And they are tired of the chaos. They are tired of corruption. Tired of leaders who perform outrage but deliver nothing. They are tired of politicians who put their needs before the people. They want to know, who is fighting for me? That question has stayed with me after my father passed away less than a year ago. As a mom of 3, deciding to run for Congress wasn't easy. I sat my kids down and talked with them about it. My youngest asked 2 questions. First, do I have to move to DC? Fair question. Second, if you don't run, who will? And will they work and care as hard as you do? That question clarified everything because that moment demanded fighters, just like this one. It demands courage. It demands clarity. It demands solidarity. And labor has always been the backbone of that fight. From farm workers to teachers, from dock workers to nurses, from Texas to Arizona. When workers stand together, we win. Como decía mi nana, no nos vamos a dejar. We will not let ourselves be taken advantage of. Together we fight. Together we win. So this afternoon, I ask you to leave here remembering who you're fighting for. The worker who just wants a fair wage. The parent who just wants time with their kids. The immigrant family that deserves dignity. The retiree who earned their rest. This is an America worth fighting for. An America built by workers. An America that works for workers. Adelante, si se puede. Thank you very much.